said you're talking to them, they just drift away. Excessive movements, you could see that they're with you, but they're stimming. It's either they're like seated and not paying so much attention like I'm doing right now. So they're shaking their head as you're talking to them. Sometimes you're like, calm down, calm down. And a lot of time I tell people that wouldn't work because he or she cannot control it. Now, impulsivity. What am I talking about? Acting without thinking. Sometimes you are wondering, did you think about what you just did? You're like, and you at the end of the day, if they're diagnosed, just realize that it's just ADHD being present and performing in the child. Now, support strategies for teachers, parents. So I have a lot of support strategies, and it's important that they have structured routine. When children know that this is what comes next, visual aids, then they know they are calmer. Sometimes when they don't know what's happening around their surrounding, they can be like, oh, I don't even know what we have next. So you're wondering that, oh, these children, you know this is the timetable, but because they don't have visual aids are a timetable that you have pictures of what is happening from one point to another point. So you're like, okay, in 40 minutes, you're going outside. In 15 minutes, we're coming back in, and they have time as a reminder. So you have to break tasks down like you have been doing, but you can do it more, smaller chunks. Sometimes we set the student up for failure because the tasks are so much and you're not completing your tasks. If for children with ADHD, I give them in chunks. So instead of you giving 10 tasks, you could start with 3, then move on to 5 and move on to 10, so that it would help you and you also wouldn't be overwhelmed. Now, minimize distractions. The world we live in is so noisy, so it's a difficult one. I remember when I was back home in Nigeria, when I work with children with ADHD, I always prefer quiet room when they do one-on-one because of distraction. So also now technology has increased that we can use noise cancellation. So you could actually buy your child a noise cancellation so that when they are on tasks, they pay more attention, and you see that there's improvements when you do that. Then positive reinforcement. So when this child increases their tasks, they've moved on from one to another, a nice words would increase that specific praise. So if you give let's say you finished addition, you could just say, I like that you finished your addition and you've able to finish 2 tasks. So give it a name so that they know that you're not saying, oh, very good, oh, fantastic, because they might not even understand the fantastic you're talking about. Now, positive reinforcement and movement from breaks. So I do one thing that works for me. In a 40 minutes class, I give my students 5 minutes. Adults, for God's sake. After 5, I do like a 5 minutes break, go off, cool off, and come back. That walking around helps a child. So if you allow a child to walk around, they know that in 30 minutes, they're going to go to the bathroom, they're going to go outside and come back in. It's a physical stimulus that increases their ability to stress balls. Now, if you give them stress balls, you give them different things to help them increase their sensory. It actually calms them down. Now, clear communication. Sometimes children with ADHD do not understand 3D instructions, like 3-dimensional. You're telling them, when you're done with your work, go pick up your math notes and come over here and see me. That's a lot of instructions for some of them. So if you understand that this child has issues with instructions, it is in your own best interest to break it down, even at home. Sometimes at home, you're like, okay, go upstairs, get my bag, bring my book, then bring my phone. That's a lot for a child that has attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So you break your information and you make it clear and precise. So how do you make your instructions clear? Ask yourself, how confusing is my information? That's what I tell people. Sometimes, pro tips, children with ADHD often have incredible creativity, energy, and enthusiasm. Focus on strengths and help them channel their unique abilities and positively. At the end of every day, these children have something they love to do. Focus on the strengths so that it would increase from your end. So you are happier, the child is happier. Now let's talk about speech delay. I'm going to pause now. Do you have questions at this point? Am I too fast? Do I need to slow down? Hello?
You're right, Patrick.
Okay. So let's talk about delayed speech in children. How do you recognize speech delay? You recognize speech delay when a child from 12 months to 24 months and 36 months aren't doing the following. At 12 months, a child should be babbling. Before 12 months, a child should be cooing. And no gesture is happening, no babbling is happening. You need to be very worried. Now, you're saying, oh, 12 months. Sometimes in my family, they don't talk early, so we give it time. Then let's say, oh, 24 months. This child has less than 10 to 15 words, no word combination. So they can't do 2-word phrases. They can't say, mom, come, mom, food. They can't blend two words together to make a sentence. At that point, you know that there's a problem in communication. So at 36 months, this child has unclear speech. They have fluency problem. Have their fluency. They have limited sentences. So at 36 months, a child should be coherent. You should understand the 3 words phrases put together. But there's no coherence. And what do we mean that speech and language development lags behind? We mean that at that time, the peers are increasing language and the child is just coasting. It's static. It's not moving. This can affect vocabulary, it can affect sentence formation, it can affect even when you ask them, what did you do in school? They might not be able to relate information. Who hit you? They might not be able to explain it, but they have issues. Now, typical milestones to communication support strategies. So what do you do as parents? What do you do as teachers? Now, active listening works. Giving full attention to the child while they speak, not helping them complete their sentences. Sometimes we say, he is stuttering. Let me just help him complete what he wants to say. Let's slow down. Allow this child to complete. Allow this child to form, and you can actually prompt, visual prompt, faded prompt, and to support active listening. Now, what do we mean by model and expand? So repeat what the child says correctly. So if the child is trying to say, I want food, and the child is saying, I want, you could actually model, oh, I want food, I want drink, do you want? Asking questions, helping them expand their language, and also saying to them, oh, yes, that's a book. Oh, is that a book you want? So with that, it teaches proper grammar, and naturally the child tends to learn through modeling and through your expanding of prompts. Now, reading together. This is a busy world, so a lot of parents don't have time to read, or even sometimes you're like so busy. So I tell people that you don't need the whole day to help read with your child. 10 minutes, 15 minutes reading can make a whole lot difference in your child's life, even in your life. Now you look at the picture and you try to describe the picture together. So you're sitting together and you're saying, okay, this is, what animal is this? It's a dog. So let's talk about dog today. So then you can pick up a book about dogs and read it together. Just small chunk books, not too much vocabulary books. Now you can read, like for younger ones, you can sing rhymes, you can sing songs. Even older children at 7 love to sing songs. Now, let me talk about open-ended questions. When you ask children open-ended questions, you want them to expand their sentences. It doesn't give a yes, it doesn't give a no. If you ask closed-ended question, it is, okay, you say, how was your day? They will just tell you good. You could say, what happened in school today? What did you do today? What would you like to have for lunch? How would you like to play? So with that, encourages longer responses. Then let's talk about play-based learning. I have used, because I'm qualified in play-based learning, so I've used a lot of play-based learning, and it works. So you do pretend play, you do puppets, you do storytelling. So let me talk about pretend play. So you could pretend to be a lion, then sound like a lion, pretend to be a dog, sound like a dog, pretend to be another child, sound like that child. So a lot of time when you do that, the child wants to mimic or model what you've done. Now, visual support. If In this age and time, augmentative learning, use of cards often work a lot, especially when the child has a slower word sentence formation. If you increase it with different pet cards, those are very small cards, and you can combine it with communication boards so that they see that this is what I want now. So you can prompt them and say book, then bring it together and say I want book, then bring that visual cards to say would you want book. So it's different with visual cards because they can see it, they can touch it, and they can hear you speak. So it's working in different domain, working in language domain, working in physical domain, working in cognitive domain. So language visual cards are fantastic. If you don't have one in your class and a child has language problem, I would like to say that you could increase that with having that. I could help you with visual support cards. They're so fantastic and it works. Now let's go to behavior management for communication challenges. Now, it is important to know that many behavioral issues stem from frustrations. How do you feel when you cannot talk? You have something to say, but you can't say it. That's how communication looks with a child that has words but cannot say the words out. So sometimes they have so many behavioral problems. And you see that when communication happens, behavior reduces. So that's how it's like it extends the behavior. That's good communication. So they start to talk, they start to increase their speech, and you see that their behavior improves. Now, teach alternative communication. So instead of, what do I call it? Instead of saying, you must say it, you can use cards. You can use gestures. So once a child nods, that's communication. So they're responding to you. And when they nod, all you need to do is, oh, you said yes. You said no. Then you can try to say, can you try to say yes? Now let's stay calm. Model calm during frustration. So when a child is screaming, don't scream with the child. It's not foreknowledge that if you do that, you're teaching another bad behavior. So you calm down, they calm down. What I do is have cards that have this breathes. Just breathe. So they have breathe 1, breathe 2, breathe 3. So they know that, oh, when Miss O brings flags up that card and you're telling me to breathe and calm down. So give processing time. Now, processing time. How does processing time works? You are asking a child a question. I tell you that if you're not a patient person, use your fingers. So you count to 20. You count to 30. Let the child think. Then when the child is not getting it, rephrase it. Rephrasing works like magic. So you're helping the child to process what you said. So it's perceptions. So now celebrate attempt. So if they've tried to say it, even if it's the words are not out, like shout, encourage, say that, oh, you just tried to say yes. You try to say please. Celebrate it, and with that, it encourages them to like talk more. Now, seek help. Seeking help would help you solve a lot of problems. Seek help from professionals. So consult a speech and language pathologist if delays happen beyond 6 months of what I've put up for you. So if there's a delay for more than this, in 12 months, in 24 months, and 36 months, please consult someone. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help shows that you are improving yourself to better help your child. Now, let's talk about promoting emotional social development. Now, how do I do that? Emotional intelligence is an important IQ for life success. Children with strong EQ have better relationships, academic performance, and mental health. Now, emotional intelligence, what am I talking about? It is important that a child needs to be self-aware, have self-regulation, has empathy, and have social skills. How are we self-aware? A child knows what they want. They recognize that, they understand how they feel. So when a child can name their emotion, that's the self-aware. A child that can tell you, Victoria, I'm very hungry right now. That's being self-aware. A child can tell you, I am hungry right now. That's self-aware. A child can tell you how the other person makes them feel. Now let's talk about self-regulation. A lot of adults cannot self-regulate. So how do we teach children to self-regulate? Self-regulation is managing emotions and behavior appropriately. Instead of you to scream, you're keeping quiet. That's self-regulation. There's some time that you need to count in your head to self-regulate. So you teach this child to self-regulate. Now, empathy, understanding and sharing other feelings. So in life, when we don't have empathy, we might not understand what the other person feels. Unfortunately, it is so sad because people just say, oh, I have sympathy, which is different from empathy. Putting yourself in that person's situation, that's a lot of empathy. Now, let's talk about social skills. Building social skills is something that we need to work on as a society. We are losing it. We don't play with neighbors again. We don't go out to have picnics again. It's everybody's inside. So let's build relationships with everyone. So what can you do if you're not, okay, if you're a Christian, you can go to church Christian children activity. If you're a Muslim, you can go to mosque children activity. Just find a way to increase your child's social skills. Now let's go to strategies to promote emotional development. It is incredible when a child can name emotions. Teach them labeling. So they can label sadness, they can label happiness, so they can label excitement. I notice you seem sad. Don't just say, oh, you are not happy. No, name it. Sadness. Every life naming emotion doesn't mean that you are not doing well. Then you can use emotion chart. I used to have this emotion card, flipped card chart. It's very beautiful when they can see different emotions and tell you how they feel. Now, emotion stories. It's just discuss about characters and emotions, why they might feel that way. How would you feel? How would you feel when I push you? So when a child is pushing, you can use that. Okay, how would you feel if he pushes you too? Then they can discuss it. Now, model emotional expression. It's good when you share your own feelings too. I feel frustrated right now. I can't find my keys. They laugh. They're like, oh, Victoria, you can be angry. So you can be frustrated too. Let them understand that you are human. So I'm taking deep breath now. So I'm trying to calm down. Guys. Just hold on. I'm taking some deep breaths. I'm going to take 20 deep breaths. So model emotional expression. When children see that you have some weakness too, they show you their own weakness. Now, teach coping strategies. I use deep breath a lot. You can say, for hair, we do a lot of blowout candles. I don't know how it works in Nigeria, but we do blowout candles, smell flowers. But back in Nigeria, remember we used to do count to 10, using calm down corners, squeezing hands, positive talk. So just holding the child's hands to do some pet talk to let them calm down. Validate feelings. Never dismiss emotions. I see adults dismiss children's emotion. That can be very painful. There's nothing wrong in validating feelings. How do you validate feelings? Name it and let them know that you see that they've gone through a rough path. You can retell the story and ask them, paraphrase it and say, is this how you feel? Now, never dismiss emotion. I understand you are angry. Then you can redirect the feelings and redirecting the behavior. All feelings are okay. All behaviors are not. But not all behaviors are okay. Now, create safe expression. Use art, use music, use dance. Whatever you see that the child enjoy, you can use it. Now, let's go to building social skills. This area is one thing I always want to talk about. Cooperative activity. So in class, you can do group projects. So you're doing group projects in every subject. So you're sitting down and saying, so move to the next person. Do 1, 2, 1, 2, move to your 2 groups, move to your 1 group, move to your 3 groups. That will encourage turn taking, sharing, collaboration. But let me put it to you. If a child is below 4 years old, they have not learned turn taking. So don't force it down their throat. Psychologically, a young child as a toddler does not take. So at that time, I tell people that if you have 5 pencils, don't expect, and you have 6 toddlers, please have 6 pencils. You have 6 balls. Have 6 balls for 6 toddlers. Don't have 2 balls because they have not learned on taking. But later when they're in preschool, they tend to learn on taking, and it comes naturally. Now let's role playing. Now, what does role playing mean? Practical social scenarios like greeting others, asking to play. You can say, now in class now we're gonna teach Steven how to ask to play, because some children don't know how to ask other people to play. They just drag. So this is how to ask other people to play. Now teach them how to handle conflict. Then show kindness. Now conversation skills. Teach listening, taking turns, talking, staying on topic. So have you noticed that a lot of children cannot stay on topic? It's natural, but you can teach them how to stay on topic. So I do flags. So I just say, you're still talking about this document. So you will stay on this document. You were talking about a bottle. You were talking about an animal. You were talking about, so just let them stay back on their topic. Then how also you can ask questions while they talk. So I'll give an example of how to do that. So if we are discussing of how to make, let's say how to make Play-Doh. So the child is telling you how they saw their mom make Play-Doh. So as they keep talking, you can quickly pause as they try to go into another topic to say, so did your mom had some flour? So that is asking questions as they go on. Then they tell you how their mother had added some flour, and and pause again and say, oh, after you molded it, was it thick? Was it soft? So you see how you're letting them have conversation but stay on topic. Now, friendship skills. Explicit teach how to make friends. Now how do you do that? Join groups, share, compromise, like let them apologize. A few days ago, I was saying to my son, you go back to school and apologize to that girl. So it is very good when they apologize. Apologies is a lot. Just I'm gonna pause this just hold on, there's a background noise. I'm so sorry. Yes, sorry about that. So show appreciation to others, include others in your play. When you notice in your classroom or maybe in your home that there's something called cliques. Children have cliques too. Try to let them introduce others to their play. Now, problem solving steps. Teach a frame factor, how frame works. Identify a problem, brainstorm, then consider consequences, choose, and try to evaluate results. I always tell people that ABC works. Antecedent, behavior, consequences. When a problem is identified, the child understands that, oh, that was why I screamed. That is that easy. So the behavior is named. You screamed. What made you scream? They might say, because it touched me, because I don't like anybody holding my hands. So, and what are the consequences? Now, peer modeling works. I noticed how kindly Sarah shared with markers. That's great friendship. So you can peer model these children so that it would help them accommodate love, help them accommodate other people. Now, let's quickly talk about topic 4. Parent-teacher collaboration. The power of partnership. You know what partnership does? Partnership either wins or fails. There are 2 things partnership does. A lot of people think that partnership, once we partner, oh, it's going to be wonderful, it's going to be good. Partnership doesn't work that way. Now, research shows that children whose parents and teachers work together show 30% higher academic achievement, better behavior, and improved social skills. Collaboration creates consistency and unified support. Over the years, as a special needs person, I've seen that every parent that partnered, their children improved. Is it magic? No, because you are doing the same thing your teacher is doing, your facilitator is doing, you are doing it together, so there will gonna be improvement. Now, parents, child success, teachers. The most important in these three groups that you can see flashing is the child. It's not the teacher and it's not the parents. So I always say to parents and teachers, bring down your ego and let's work together. That's how partnership works. So that the interest of this blinking sky blue child success can work. Now, how do we build effective collaboration? Regular communication. It is not bad when you send emails to your teachers, when you do phone calls, asking how improvement is done and how you can get it done. Share both processes and make sure you share it by weekly or bi-weekly. So when you're sharing positivity, also know that when you're sharing negativity, give back feedback on the negativity. So if this child is trying hard to make friends and you have been discussing with the parents about it, when they start to make friends, please give feedback about it. That's regular communication. If this child is not scribbling and now they've started scribbling, call the parents and let them know that, oh, he's scribbling now, she's scribbling now. So shared goals. So how does shared goal work? Set specific, measurable goals together for child's development. Now, a lot of times, our goals are often different. That's why we don't see partnership, you don't see improvement. Review progress regularly and adjust strategies as needed. Now, how those strategies work? Make sure the goals are smart and make sure that these strategies you are using is working for the child, because children are different. There are individual difference in goals too and strategies. So know that this child's goal and this child's strategies can work together. Now, consistency between settings. Use similar behavior management strategies, then routines, language at home, same. So what also helps is that you can have a vocabulary book. For a child that isn't talking and is starting to talk, the words that he has said in school, you can put it at the vocabulary book and send it home so that the parents can work on it too. That could help. Active listening. I've said it in all special challenges, special needs. It is important that everybody working together listen. If you don't know how to listen, you need to work on it so that you can not just respond, you listen. You're not reactive, you're proactive. Parents know their child best. Teachers have educational expertise. Value both perspectives. Don't ever forget that you know your child, but don't also forget that this is a professional talking to you. So both is the best when combined together. Now let's go to parent-teachers conferences like we're doing now, so that you're understanding that everybody needs to hear it and needs to walk through it will work. Bring samples of work or behavior logs. Oh, it's improving. Oh, it's coasting. It's regressing. It's not just a problem. Let's celebrate together. So when there's a win, there's a success. So we're celebrating the wins together, and volunteer and participate. Parents need to volunteer more. You can just say, oh, on your drama day today or your literacy day, I'm going to come over to reading class. Volunteer, join committees, so that there will be connection between the school and the home. Now, for teachers and engaging parents. So let me quickly go through this. I'm trying to walk in I have 6 minutes to go. Welcome parents warmly. Create an inviting classroom environment. Provide specific ways parents can support learning at home. Be culturally sensitive and accommodate different family structures. Now, what are family structures? The way our family is built is different from the way your family is built. So when you know that, you need to accommodate that. Offer flexible meeting times for working parents. So don't say, oh, because we are closed at 4, we can't accommodate you. You can accommodate, be flexible, because life is actually hard when it comes to trying to provide for the child, trying to provide for the family. Start conversation with positives before discussing challenges. We call it sandwich. So you know how sandwich is made. So first, talk about the good. Second, talk about the challenging behavior. And the last one, where you put the bread on top, talk about how it can be improved, living in the good and the bad together. So sandwich effect. Now, supporting teachers. Best practice for parents. Respect teachers' time and professional expertise. You know, sometimes when people say, I know my child, I'm like, oh, but your teacher is an expert too. So follow through with strategies suggested by your teachers because they have seen it work over time. And if you think that you can make suggestions on strategies, ooh, that's a good one. They will try it and to make it work. Now, share important information about your child's medical, emotional, family changes. If anything is happening at home that could increase tantrums in school, you could actually talk about it and say, I noticed Marcus hasn't been sleeping for the last 2 days. He sleeps just 3 hours for only 8 hours. That could bring an emotional problem in school. So just watch out for it. Ask questions when unclear rather than making assumptions. Assumptions, I say, is a sin. So ask questions. Questions help you to clarify. Questions help you to get support. Support homework and reading routines at home. I still say it, we do not have time, but we can create time. Now, when disagreements arise, focus on the child's best interest. Request a meeting to discuss concerns privately. You shouldn't be talking about your child when other people are there. Request a meeting to talk about it. Now, I had 3 topics, but I broke it into 5. I didn't tell you that. Now, let's talk about the final one. Children's well-being. Foods to bring to school. This is one important topic you need to listen to. Now, the Food Learning Connection says proper nutrition affects concentration, memory, behavior, energy levels, and immune functions. An hungry or poorly nourished child cannot learn effectively. That is one thing you need to know. Now, brain boosting foods for school. I'm going to list it out. Nuts and seeds. Know that some children have nut allergies. So if there's a nut allergies, this is not recommended. So check allergy policies. So proteins, healthy fat, vitamins. For vitamin E, it helps for brain health. Now, eggs, it completes proteins. Leafy greens like vitamin K, folate, antioxidants for cognitive functioning. Now, berries are good for improving memory and learning. So include berries in your diet. Fatty fish like omega-3, like tuna and salmon. But remember also, check allergy policies. Some children have allergies, fish allergies, so you need to check that also. Avocados are good. They are folate and vitamin K for concentration. Yogurt. Every child should have a yogurt per day. That's what I preach. Like you should have a yogurt per day. It has protein, probiotics, calcium for brain signals. Now, fresh fruits. Natural sugars, fiber, vitamins for sustained energy. Have fresh foods every day. Let's talk about vegetables like fiber for overall health. So you can do carrots and other veggies. Now, let's talk about whole grains. You can do oats while making sure that they have steady energy. Cheese is also good. A cheese per day is good. I don't know how, because there are cheese snacks now. It helps bone and brain health. Then a lot of water. It helps concentration and it helps a mood of a child. Now, healthy lunch ideas, lunchbox. So I did a lunchbox ideas. So you can do options. You can do whole grain sandwich, that's turkey, cheese, and almost carrot sticks and apple slices and add water. Balanced options, pasta salad with vegetables, hard-boiled egg, berries, and yogurt. You can have wrap with chicken veggies, chicken wraps, then cheese cubes, grapes, and nuts. But that is if it is allowed in your child's school that you have nuts. Now, you could also have kernel bowls with beans and veggies. A lot of children don't eat beans again. unfortunately, but it helps with brain growth. Orange slices, whole grain cracks. That's those crackers would be so good. Now, high sugar foods should be limited and avoided. It causes energy crashes, affect concentrations and mood swings because the child has high energy and you're giving high energy food. So what would happen? Energy crashes. Artificial colored flavors is linked to hyperactivity in some children. Excessive processed foods, low nutritional value, high in salt or sugar. Then caffeinated drinks, inappropriate for children and it disrupts sleep. Coke, drinking Coke, drinking Pepsi for young children, it disrupts sleep. Common allergens, follow schools' policies. So every school has policies. Here, in one of my son's schools, they don't do bananas, they don't do peanuts, they don't do fish. So it is important that you follow what the school says. Now, creating healthy eating habits is the best overall. Make sure that what your child is eating has every nutrient, has carbohydrates, has proteins, everything that needs for growth. Thank you for listening. I just passed my 1 minute, so I'm going to stop sharing now.
Okay, thank you so very much, Mrs. O.
You're welcome.
I'm getting used to calling you that name. Yeah, Mrs. O.
That's the